Hello everyone, welcome to the video on the polynomial multiplication. Before we start, we need to have some prior knowledge of how to do this work here. The first one is, how do you multiply a 5x squared and 3x? And what are the like terms in the expression 4x squared minus 2x plus 3x squared plus 5? Well, in order to multiply two monomials together, we need to multiply the numerical part together, the coefficients together, and we need to multiply the variable parts together. The like terms on the second question is 4x squared and 3x squared are the like terms. They all have x as a variable, but some of them have x squared and the others has x. So x squared are like terms and x are like terms, or x squared and x are not like terms. Through this lesson, you'll be able to multiply two polynomials together using the methods like the distributive property, the FOIL, and also the area model. Let's try the first example question. Expand and simplify x plus 3 times x minus 2. For the first example question, we're going to use the FOIL method. The FOIL method means that we multiply the first terms together. So I'm going to use the first terms together, and you're going to multiply the outer parts together, and you're also going to multiply the inner parts together, and finally you're going to multiply the last parts together. So that's why it stands for FOIL: the front, the first, outer, inner, and last terms. So let's multiply the first parts together. So for the f, we're going to do x times x, which is x squared. And for the outer parts, that's x times -2. So that's -2x. And the inner parts, that's 3 times x, and that's equal to 3x. And finally, the last parts, that's 3 times -2, which is a -6. So now let's put them together into an addition of terms. So that's going to be x squared minus 2x plus 3x minus 6. And we're going to collect like terms. They're already collected, so we just have to add the terms together, which means x squared minus 2x plus 3x, -2 plus 3 is +1. So that's plus x minus 6. And that's our final answer. Let's annotate our process. Use the FOIL method to multiply binomial by binomial. The binomial means it's a polynomial with two terms. The FOIL method only works with the binomial times the binomial questions. So that's why we use the FOIL method here. The FOIL stands for the first and outer and inner, and that's not pretty, and last. So we multiply the two terms individually, and then collect like terms, and that's the end. Let's look at the second example question. Expand and multiply x squared plus 3x plus 5 times 2x minus 3. Well, right off the bat, what I notice is that this question is not about a binomial times a binomial. We're actually doing a trinomial times a binomial. And the unfortunate thing about the trinomial times binomial is that the FOIL method doesn't work. We can still use the complicated distributive property, but I also suggest that for these more difficult problems, I suggest that you use the area model. What I mean by the area model, I'm going to draw a rectangular box. I'm going to divide it into sections. I'm going to make it into 3 columns and 2 rows. Why 3 columns? Because I know my first factor has 3 terms, x squared, positive 3x, positive 5. And I have the second factor, 2x minus 3, also has 2 terms. So that's 2x and negative 3. Now, using the area model means we find the area of this rectangular shape by using our knowledge of how to find the area of a rectangle. Well, how do you find the area of this rectangle? Well, it has the width of x squared and the length of 2x, so we just need to multiply them. So that's 2x times x squared. Let me try to write that one more time. 2x times x squared. Remember that when we multiply the monomials together, we multiply the coefficients and we multiply the variables. The coefficient of the first part is 2. Coefficient of the second part is 1. So 2 times 1, that's 2. What about the variable part? We have x times x squared. Well, we can use the exponent law that we learned in the previous lessons. When you're multiplying two numbers with the same base, then we add the exponents. The exponent of the first one is 1, actually. So 1 plus 2 is going to be 3. That's 2x cubed. Let's try one more time. 2x times 3x, positive 3x. So we multiply the coefficients together. 2 times 3 is 6. What about x times x? Well, x times x is x squared. And I can continue on this process. 2x times 5, that's 10x. Negative 3 times x squared, that's negative 3x squared. Negative 3 times 3x, that's negative 9x. Finally, negative 3 times 5, that's negative 15. So now that we found the area of each cell, we're going to add them together. So that's going to be 2x cubed plus 6x squared. And I'm going to be smart here. And because I already noticed that the diagonal cells have the same like terms, I'm going to write minus 3x squared here. And then I'll write the plus 10x. And then write the minus 9x. And then minus 15. This way, I don't have to do that one more hassle of collecting like terms because the terms are already collected. Now, the final step is to add the like terms together. 6x squared minus 3x squared, that's plus 3x squared. 10x minus 9x, that's plus 1x minus 15. And that's our final answer. Let's annotate our process. Represent the product as rectangles with columns and rows. It's important that we specify how many columns and how many rows we have based on the number of terms of each factor. We chose to go with the 3 column here because we had a trinomial there. Find the area of each cell individually. And then collect like terms. Sorry, maybe I should say add the area of each cell and then collect like terms. The process of using the area model, if you notice, it's basically the same thing as the FOIL method, but this one visualizes your process, so I like it more. So the vocabulary and the formula are quite similar to that of the previous section, polynomial introduction. We're still talking about the polynomial, we're still talking about the binomial and the trinomial, and we still use the distributive property. But then the first one that we talked about was the FOIL. The FOIL, the first, outer, inner, and last acronym to help us memorize the process of multiplying a binomial by a binomial by a binomial. If you want to do more, the trinomial by a binomial, trinomial by a trinomial, or even 4 terms, 5 terms polynomial, I suggest that you use the area model. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.